Hey everyone, what's going on? Mike here. I just want to give an update video because we haven't had a chance to put out much content. Jill and I have both been extremely busy. This week has been pretty nuts. We had nearly 50 orders over the weekend. In the last 7 days, we've done over $1,800 in sales on eBay. So sales are going great, but my school load is picking up, and Jill had a big event at work, and it's just been a ton. I mean, I spent over 4 hours packaging orders right before school and, you know, running around. And today I had to package orders before I recorded this, and then I have class online. And it's been a hustle. But I want to kind of give an update and talk a little bit about something that was on my mind. Jill is at work, so she won't be in this video. But I just finished packaging orders, as you can see. Still working on keeping stuff organized in here. I'll show more of a tour video in the future once I get some boxes sorted and more inventory moved around. This is a bunch of glassware we just got in, and we already sold like nearly half of it. It's vintage Corningware. Now another thing is we picked up this huge, like massive lot of officially licensed plush toys, dolls, whatever you want to call them. I think it's nearly 500. We paid around $2,000 for the whole thing. It ended up being around $4 a plush, which, you know, is quite a bit, but they were coming from a collector. Most of them are in really good condition. There's some really large plushes, and there's some inventory that's worth quite a bit on their own. We listed maybe 20 so far, and we already sold 2 within 1 day for over $20 each or something along those lines. So nice return on investment, easy to ship, pain in the ass to list all of them. Now I posted a photo of this lot, and it got a lot of interaction on Facebook, Instagram, and there was a comment on there that said lucky. And I don't know why, this just kind of like got stuck in my head. I've been thinking about it for a number of days. Sounds ridiculous, but I don't know why. I kind of like took offense to it. Someone calling me lucky that I got these, I guess, or that luck played into the role of getting these in some way. And I kind of wanted to address this because I feel like this is a misconception in the reselling community and business community in general. First of all, I am not a lucky individual by any means. The most luck I've had in my life, and I am so incredibly grateful for it, is meeting Jill and finding someone I really mesh with, that I get along with, that I care for greatly, and I feel like we got a great thing going. And that's enough luck for my entire life. I'm truly incredibly grateful just for that. But outside of that, I have not had great luck. I mean, so many terrible things have happened in my life. And I don't want this video to be a downer, but luck is just not something that has ever been good to me if it exists. And I don't really even see luck as some type of force that plays a role in things. I see luck as a way of describing a situation that has a favorable outcome more than some force of nature that's directing things. In that sense, it's kind of like, you know, a lot of people think of it more like karma, but that's not really how I think of luck. I think of luck as a descriptor, and in this case, it's a terrible descriptor for what happened, and I want to explain why, and why you shouldn't rely on luck and call other people lucky because they managed to score cool items or things, because it really undervalues the work they put in to find stuff. And the truth of the matter is, luck plays very little role in reselling. Yes, if it exists to some force, you might run in and meet somebody, luckily, that is able to help you. You might find really rare items, luckily, that you could sell. But 99% of the time, the thing that trumps any sort of luck is effort put in. And I want to explain this. Sourcing is probably the biggest hurdle anybody has to face in reselling, right? You need a product to sell. If you have nothing to sell, you have no business. And everyone is competing for inventory in that way. The thing is, there's so many different niches and so many opportunities to find inventory that this idea that you can't find stuff or that things aren't available near you is typically bullshit. I mean, let's be honest. It's typically bullshit. It usually has to do with someone not putting in the effort to find things or putting in the effort to educate themselves about how to find things. And I understand the community is riddled with educators that mislead newcomers and capitalize on their naivety and things like that. I totally get it. But the truth is, reselling is a game of effort. You have to go out there and find things. You have to take the time to meet and connect with people. You have to care immensely about sourcing. You have to constantly be looking for deals and things to flip. You don't have to get lucky. You have to bust your ass. I mean, genuinely, that's what needs to happen. I didn't get these plushes because I was lucky. I went on eBay intentionally and went and looked at all the auctions that ended that didn't sell, okay? And I noticed this person had a ton of auctions for lots of plushes. I messaged them and I said, you know, I noticed you have a lot of plushes. They're not selling because of the way you're pricing them. Are you interested in getting rid of a lot of them at once? And if so, what kind of price are you actually realistically looking to get? I am a reseller. I'm stocking up for Christmas. And this is kind of the ballpark I'm willing to pay per plush. And the way I'm going to price the lot is per plush because that's what I'm interested in. And they responded, and we corresponded for over 2 days to work out a deal. That was not luck. I purposefully did that. I went out of my way and reached out to someone and made a connection. And people forget that, you know, you can source literally everywhere. Facebook Marketplace, eBay. You can make a full-time living just sourcing stuff off eBay to resell. A huge portion of the stuff we get to sell individually is large lots from eBay. People do not want to take the time to piece stuff out. It is time consuming. It is a massive amount of effort. It's a lot of research. You have to know what you're looking for. Estate sales. We buy huge amounts of books from estate sales because I reached out and got out of my comfort zone and went and talked to the people who run the estate sales. Said, like, I'm looking to help you. Can you work on something to help me? And this is how we can help each other. These are the type of things you must do if you want to thrive in any type of business, but especially in reselling, because sourcing is so time consuming, and being able to find stuff to sell is the #1 hurdle everyone is facing. So you have to get out of your comfort zone and put in the effort and reach out to people. This idea that you're going to get lucky and find cool stuff to sell while putting in minimal effort is very unlikely. I mean, extremely unlikely. If you look at someone like Pete, and I've been mentioning Pete a lot because I really admire his business, right? He has like a buy-sell trade shop in Illinois, I believe, and people bring him stuff all the time. But even he has to put in a ton of effort to source cool things and research those items and make sure people aren't trying to scam him or rip him off because he's giving them cash on hand. I mean, any way you do your business, you're going to have to spend a ton of time researching, listing, and sourcing items. If that is not for you, and if you feel like this is some game of luck, then maybe you're not cut out to resell. And I don't mean that rudely, but the truth of the matter is you have to be able to put in the effort. I can't even express how stressed out I am this semester, right? Like, I have so much school stuff going on and building up, and the business is running so good that I can't even keep up with listing new items, which is creating a whole other issue. I spend every free second I have either listing, doing homework, sleeping, or packaging orders. I mean, that's literally my life right now. And I put myself in that position. But the point is, for the little success we've had so far, and I say little because, you know, in the grand scheme of things, we haven't even made a profit on a whole, and monthly, you know, maybe a couple of $1,000s profit so far is not very much. That's not even a large-scale business. You know, if we made $2,000 profit a month, that's only 24 grand in a year. That is nothing. $24,000 is literally nothing. People have spent more money than that on Gary Vaynerchuk's hand-drawn NFT doodles. I mean, seriously, it's chump change. And the amount of effort it has taken me to even get there, and Jill to help and get there while she's working, is pretty exorbitant. But we have a vision in mind, and we have a goal, and we're striving for a specific, you know, type of business that will work. And we're working really hard to build connections and put the word out. And I'm constantly talking with people that run the estate sales and asking them to reach out to their connections. You know, we have potentially an opportunity to set up like a kind of remote estate booth where you put stuff in and they have a clerk that watches the whole little flea market. And we have other opportunities coming up to get really cool vintage books. and cool estate sales that we kind of have like an inside edge to looking at a little bit. And this is just the beginning. I mean, we just started 2 months ago, and I've put in like countless hours of effort to find stuff, to make funding to even buy inventory, because I haven't been working with school and since the pandemic, and so it's not like I have like a ton of money saved up or something. We started with very little capital. I just happen to have, you know, knowledge from years ago of doing this on how to kind of get started without being as stressed out as some people are. But that previous knowledge took so much work to get. I used to sit on a computer for hours every day watching videos, scouring articles, reading, searching eBay, learning, asking everyone I know questions. I still to this day message a bunch of people I've made connections with questions. Pete, who I mentioned earlier, I message him if I have questions about stuff. Chad Pagel, you know, there's so many different people in the community that I've met that I ask questions to if I have, if I need specific information about a topic. These are the kind of connections you need to build. Luck is not the factor that plays into this. There are cases where maybe it helps you out, but in my opinion, what matters more than anything is the effort and the directed effort. It needs to be directed towards a specific goal. It needs to be directed towards a vision you have in mind. And if you don't know where to direct that effort, then you really need to do more research and learn more. If you don't know where to direct your effort in the business and you genuinely can't figure out how to expand or source items, then your problem is you're lacking knowledge on that field. Now, there are ways to learn that involve just jumping in. You can just go, you know, really try your hardest to figure out a niche that you're interested in and go to thrift stores and garage sales and start selling that stuff and see if it works out. Some people, that happens and it works out. For instance, we never sourced vintage books, but they're just doing great for us. So now it's been part of our business. You do run into stuff like that, but in general, you need to take the time to study and build your knowledge base about how to source properly, you have to learn how to communicate with others and express your ideas to them. Make sure you're talking to people at different types of sales and tell them what you're looking for. Ask them if they know of other opportunities. It's all about networking and communication. I mean, these are really important factors that play into success in reselling. Everyone's always talking about like how to sell stuff online, how to list things, how to do this, how to take better photos. That stuff is simple. That stuff is things you can learn very easily. Taking better photographs, there are literally millions of articles on how to take better photographs. There are very few good resources online that teach you how to properly source and build connections. I'm sure they exist. They were hard to find when I started reselling 11 years ago, and I'm sure they're hard to find today. And the reason is because the field became riddled with marketers who are capitalizing and selling courses and all these other things. That's not to say that some of them don't have knowledge to offer. I'm sure they do. But discerning which ones are reputable and worth your time is a difficult task. And so I feel for you if you're new. You can ask me questions. I'm more than willing to help anybody in this field because I don't really believe in this kind of overly competitive approach to reselling. I think most people can thrive just fine and make money and help others make money. You don't have to be hyper competitive to do well. And in some cases, it actually off-puts people from you. I was just talking to two guys who run estate sales about this, and they were saying like how certain people at their estate sales they don't really want to build connections with because they're overly competitive and they're always trying to save, you know, $1 extra or 1 cent, and they're penny pinching. It doesn't help them. It ends up wasting a lot of their time haggling over $1, you know. And sometimes you just pay the extra $1 and move on. It's worth it. As a matter of fact, we picked up some books recently and I paid them $10 extra simply because I didn't want to bring extra change or smaller bills. And they were thankful for that, and then they like gave it back to me on the other end when I went to buy something else. So you can always build rapport by not being overly penny pinching. I'm all for the hustle. I've been watching a little bit of Gary Vee's trash talk, and sometimes like he talks people down to like an extreme amount. Now at a garage sale, it doesn't really matter so much because you're not necessarily sourcing from that person over and over. But if you are sourcing from someone over and over, I would highly suggest you think about whether saving a few dollars in hassling them over that is worth the long-term connection, because if you're fair to them, they might be more willing to be fair to you. And I just think that's something to keep in mind when negotiating. So I know this video was kind of rant-like, but I was just really trying to share my mindset and experience. And I don't know why that comment about Lucky triggered me so much. And I've really been ruminating about it. And I was just thinking that, like, blaming luck is kind of a cop-out in a lot of ways. You know, I've seen this in the community before, and I've seen this general mindset, like, these people always get lucky. If someone is consistently finding really good stuff, it's probably not simply luck. You should give them some credit where it's due, you know? And you can do the same if you learn how to hustle and put the energy in and direct your effort in the right direction. So I more want to use this as a lesson that if you're new, you really have to consider all the factors. You have to consider your knowledge base, what it is that you can sell and enjoy and you want to learn about. There's so many different subfields of things to sell. There are people that make a living, I'm not kidding, selling ceiling fan parts. I've seen some huge eBay accounts that sell things like small parts to different ceiling fans, that sell small little different plumbing fixtures, that sell micro components of electronics that have been taken apart. You can make a niche out of almost anything. People are looking for all sorts of stuff. And if you can find a way to source things that the only place to find them is eBay, then you have the opportunity to create a niche that does well for you. You have to understand that even though Craigslist exists and Etsy and these other sites, eBay is the place you go when you want to find something you really can't find. It's always been the place for obscure things that are difficult to find. It's nice that it has like a good following for vintage goods and glassware and things like that. But the reality is, if you can't find something and you search on eBay and it's not available, then it's really difficult to find. So if you can find any sort of niche like that, that really differentiates you from competition on the site. An example is, we had a dishwasher that broke. I took a bunch of parts off it and put them up for sale. Now, we haven't sold any of them. I mean, they haven't been listed very long. But if someone ever needs parts to this very specific, small, miniature dishwasher, we happen to have them. And if they search, we'll probably be one of the few, if not only people that have those parts up, because no one is sitting there taking apart miniature dishwashers and putting the parts up for sale. The thing is, sometimes people need those. So if you part things out, that's a great way to start out making money, because you can find all sorts of small appliances, kitchen goods, and things at thrift stores, garage sales, even those Goodwill, you know, wholesale places where they dump everything in a bin. I know people who would just sell like blender cups and blades and motors. All that stuff are things that people will eventually need for some reason, repairing goods or looking for replacements. There's a reason, there's an entire website, you know, called replacements.com for just replacing glassware. People need replacements for things. And there's not a lot of places to get them, especially if they're older goods, which is what you'll find an abundance of in thrift stores, especially estate sales. So these are just factors you want to consider. And, you know, I appreciate the ongoing support for the videos. We've gotten quite a few consistent views. I'm sorry we haven't been able to put out as many consistent videos, but we are busy and the business and school come first. So, you know, making videos is a hobby right now. If the channel gets remonetized and it really becomes part of like the business plan and the ongoing efforts, then this will become a normal thing. I should also mention I graduate next semester. So once I'm graduated, this will be much higher on the priority list and I will have a lot more free time. So I'm looking so forward to that. And I'm just trying to hustle these last semesters, get this done, and continue to grow the business with Jill and I. She's been doing great. I mean, she's learning fast. She found some really cool stuff at the last estate sale. As a matter of fact, if you watched our haul video, she showed this green teal grape plate. I'll cut to it. How about that? And this plate she got for $1. I think we paid 50 cents because it was half off day. And it sold for $50 in one day. And I'm just like, I was so incredibly proud of her. I messaged her multiple times and told her, because when you're new to this field, it can be very difficult to find things that are particularly profitable. But 50 cents into 50 bucks in one day is incredibly good. I mean, if you can do that every day, just once, you have a relatively successful business. And so that is awesome. I mean, like, I'm so proud of her finding, especially in an estate sale where there's so much stuff to pick from, right? It can be overwhelming, and I feel like she's been managing very well. So I'm excited to keep teaching her, and I'm excited to help the community. So if you have questions, message me on Facebook. We have a Facebook page. Comment below. I answer all comments if I can. And, you know, DM me whatever on Instagram. I'm more than willing to help anybody. If you have any questions whatsoever, it can be about shipping, packing, how to list things, what we use for photography. I mean, I reached out for photography help as I got back into reselling as well. I wanted to know what cameras people used. I didn't, you know, my camera was like 8 years old. I didn't know what people use for photography now. Turns out most people use their phone, but I like having a professional camera. And so we're using the Canon M50 now, thanks to Pete's recommendation. But almost everyone I asked just uses like an iPhone, which I guess is okay. I don't feel that it always creates the most professional photos. That being said, efficiency is a key factor. So, you know, it takes a lot longer to take photos with a professional camera, upload them, and deal with the file size and everything else. Nonetheless, I'm just rambling, so I'll see you guys soon. I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. Business is going great. School is going well, I guess. I'm, you know, a bit tired of it, but Jill and I will see you soon, hopefully with more of like a haul video, show you what we've been up to, behind the scenes of some estate sale, something like that. Peace!